Hello everyone, I am Rustin Henley Baton, Level 2 Nursing Student from Visayas State University. For today's video, we are going to talk about this very important matter or topic in healthcare, and women. I know that you already knew about this matter because this had been a very long and difficult debate for a long time, and even up to this day, this is still a talk of the nation. But the highlight of this video is for me to give my insight, my perspective, and my opinion of this issue. However, I still included a factual data to support my claims. So this is not a purely opinionated stand. And for those who are still undecided and uncertain on which side to support, I hope this video can help you. So what we will be talking about is abortion. So what really is this abortion? According to the World Health Organization or the WHO, abortion is the termination of a pregnancy prior to 20 weeks gestation. So it simply refers to the ending of the pregnancy, whether it occurs using medical intervention or on its own, in which we call as miscarriage. For a long time, the controversy over whether abortion is ethically right or immoral, whether it should be allowed or prohibited, has raged on. Other countries, such as the Philippines, had not yet legalized abortion. This brings the issue to the forefront, particularly when it comes to women's rights, as this pressing topic confronts the full potential of a woman in making decisions and obtaining rights to her body. The Philippines became the 12th largest population in the world after they passed more than 103 million people. According to the National Statistics Office, after every year, it adds more than 1 million. According to the NSO, 36% of mothers admitted their birth are unexpected due to lack of education about birth control. The United Nations Family Planning Association states that teenage pregnancy of the Philippines is beatable to other countries in Southeast Asia. According to the World Health Organization, the estimate of abortion is around 400,000 to 500,000 and is still increasing. However, it is one of the biggest number of unsafe abortion in Asia. About 100,000 of women are submitted to hospital due to unsafe abortion. Now let us talk about the arguments for and against abortion in the Philippines. First, we have religion, particularly Christianity. This is perhaps the main barrier that prevents the legalization of abortion. Dismantling this barrier is exceptionally difficult in a country that is comprised of religious citizens. The condemnation of abortion is based heavily in the belief that human beings are of divine creation. For this reason, termination of pregnancy is considered to be equivalent to murder due to the shared intent of ending a life. Next is the family culture. Most family culture is strongly based on their own religions, especially Roman Catholicism. According to most typical Filipino families, sex is considered as darkness, guilt, and discomfort. Sex imposed silence, and most parents do not teach their kids about sex or family planning to avoid them to have sexual desires. Gender equality. The anti-abortion law questions the gender equality. It's strongly against the feminist. In 2009, Magna Carta for Women has submitted and received acceptance the law from Philippines to reduce discrimination against women by providing the accommodations to protect, fulfill, and give the rights of women. The introduction of RH Bill. The major problem of the Philippines is overpopulation. Politicians have considered and created the bill to give a choice to every woman. The effect has been reviewed extensively in recent years. The possible solution of population is to reduce the number of people by presenting Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, which is known as RH Bill. The same bill proposes to reduce the population by providing an education about family planning, reproductive health, and population development in the Philippines. These are some of the examples of the ethical issues regarding abortion. First, we have pregnancy results from rape. Second, pregnancy endangers mother's life. Third, Unwanted pregnancy creates financial distress in the family. And fourth, fetus undergoes malformation during pregnancy with expectation of disability when born. Parents then are unable to financially, emotionally, and physically live with expected disability. So, what are the health consequences of performing unsafe abortion? So, according to national health surveys, roughly 160 deaths per 100,000 live births result from performing unsafe abortion. The most common complications that result from unsafe abortion are excessive blood loss and infection, septic shock, peritonitis, cervical or vaginal lacerations, and intestinal perforations are among other complications, but are rare. About 10,000 women are hospitalized each year due to complications arising from unsafe abortion. However, since abortion is illegal, most women are denied care and are rejected by the hospital to avoid legal issues. Now let us talk about the Philippines abortion provision. According to the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, 1987, Article 2, Section 12, the state recognizes the sanctity of family life and shall protect and strengthen the family as basic autonomous social institution. It shall equally protect the life of the mother and the life of the unborn from conception, the natural and primary right and duty of parents in the rearing of the youth for civic efficiency and the development of moral character shall receive the support of the government. For the revised Penal Code of the Philippines, Act No. 3815 of December 8, 1930, Articles 256 to 259. Article 256 talks about the intentional abortion. Any person who shall intentionally cause an abortion shall suffer, first, the penalty of reclusion temporal if he shall use any violence upon the person of the pregnant woman. Second, the penalty of prison mayor if without using violence he shall act without the consent of the woman. Third, the penalty of prison correctional in its medium and maximum period if the woman shall have consented. For Article 257 or the unintentional abortion, the penalty of prison correctional in its minimum and medium period shall be imposed upon any person who shall cause an abortion by violence but unintentionally. For Article 258, abortion practiced by the woman herself or by her parents, the penalty of prison correctional in its medium and maximum periods shall be imposed upon a woman who shall practice abortion upon herself or shall consent that any other person should do so. Any woman who shall commit this offense to conceal her dishonor shall suffer the penalty of prison correctional in its minimum and medium periods. If this crime be committed by the parents of the pregnant woman or either of them, and they act with the consent of the said woman for the purpose of concealing her dishonor, the offenders shall suffer the penalty of prison correctional in its medium and maximum period. Article 259, abortion practiced by a physician or midwife and dispensing of abortives. The penalties provided in this article shall be imposed in its maximum period respectively upon any physician or midwife who, taking advantage of their scientific knowledge or skill, shall cause an abortion or assist in causing the same. Any pharmacist who, without a proper prescription from a physician, shall dispense any abortive shall suffer arresto mayor and a fine not exceeding 1,000 pesos. Now let me tell you some facts on abortion in the Philippines. The criminalization and a general ban on abortion. The Center for Reproductive Rights works nationally and internationally to expand access to reproductive health care for women around the world. So they have conducted years of investigative research into the status of reproductive rights in the Philippines. And these are the facts. For over a century, abortion has been criminalized in the Philippines. The criminal provisions on abortion do not contain any exceptions allowing abortion, including to save the life of the pregnant woman or to protect her health. In 2008 alone, the Philippines' criminal abortion ban was estimated to result in the deaths of at least 1,000 women and complications for 90,000 more. Physicians and midwives who perform abortions in the Philippines with the consent of a pregnant woman may still face up to 6 years in prison under the revised penal code. Women who undergo abortion for any reason may be punished by imprisonment for 2 to 6 years. Because of the lack of access to safe abortion, Filipino women with life-threatening pregnancies have no choice but to risk their lives through unsafe abortion or through continuation of high-risk pregnancies. The criminal abortion ban stigmatized the procedure in the medical community, so that women face tremendous barriers and significant abuse when they seek treatment for abortion complications. Filipino women who have undergone unsafe abortions for health reasons report that healthcare workers have not been sympathetic to their situation, but instead continue to abuse and threaten them. The stigma surrounding abortion is perpetuated by the government of the Philippines' acquiescences to the demands of the Catholic hierarchy, including the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. As a result of the criminal abortion law and the discriminatory environment in the Philippines, women are left without a means to control their fertility, exposed to unsafe abortions, and made vulnerable to abuse in the health system. Abortion really is a very difficult and unpleasant topic for men and women who are confronted with this moral choice. It is one of the most divisive topics, leaving behind the majority of the people on one side or the other side, and some still remain uncertain. Those that identify themselves as pro-life are on one side, so they claim that abortion that is purposely made is always wrong. For those on the other side, in which they call as pro-choice or the abortion supporters, they believe that purposeful abortion is appropriate in some circumstances. As a student who pursue a nursing career in the future, I am on the pro-choice side of the debate, attempting to see the wider picture of the situation. It is also noting that as care providers, we always seek the best interest of our patient. However, at the end of the day, it is still with the person to decide what is best for them, and we are only here to support any decisions they will make, and also to give options or advices on what could be made to solve the problem. And as a result, my ideas and opinions on this subject will always be on the patient's side, but only if it still confronts a good and morally correct action. So what does pro-choice stands for? The basic pro-choice position holds that induced abortion is morally permissible. It is morally allowed but not morally wrong. The pro-choice critics of the 1967 Abortion Act give the doctors the power to decide whether there are medical grounds to support the woman's request for abortion. The law does not allow the woman to simply end her pregnancy without any evidences that it would threaten her life. What are these evidences? Firstly is that the continuance of the pregnancy would involve risk to the life of the pregnant woman, or risk of injury to the physical or mental health of the pregnant woman, or any existing children in her family, greater than if the pregnancy were terminated. Secondly, that there was a substantial risk that if the child were born, it would suffer from such physical or mental abnormalities as to be seriously handicapped. The law allowed doctors to take into account the woman's actual or reasonably foreseeable environment. As you can see from the above, I am in favor in legalizing abortion, but only if the woman's life is in jeopardy and the fetal condition is critical. However, if the parent persists in continuing the pregnancy, I will respect and support their decision and assist them throughout the woman's pregnancy, labor, and delivery. Another reason why I am on the pro-choice side is that I believe and take a stand to the idea that women should have freedom to make and choose their own decision, as well as to the right to their own body. However, we all know that by adapting to this philosophy, we will be abandoning the unborn child's right to life, and this is where the abortion debate arises. Now, let us discuss the pro-life side. The simplest line of reasoning behind the pro-life position is something like this. The embryo or the fetus is a person. A person has a right to life. Therefore, an embryo or a fetus has a right to life. It is wrong to kill a being that has a right to life. Therefore, it is wrong to kill an embryo or a fetus. The basic pro-life position depends on an analogy drawn or assumed between an embryo or the fetus and a normal, innocent human being. They believe that the embryo or the fetus is the same or similar to that of a normal human being that has the same right to life, and they should be treated in the same way like them. Pro-lifers take this similarity to be obvious and this analogy to be easily understood. Hence, they are perplexed to the pro-choicers' seeming refusal to treat an embryo or the fetus the same way they would treat an innocent, normal human person. However, they do not know that there are two basic lines of reasoning assumed by different pro-choice groups. The one line of reasoning believes that the embryo or the fetus is not a person, so do not have a right to life possessed by a person. The other line of reasoning, which I believe and take a stand for, is that an embryo or the fetus is a person, but sees other factors or consideration as outweighing and overriding the right to life of the fetus. It means that if the fetus' right to life is overridden by other factors occurring, it is not wrong to kill that being in those circumstances. Thus, my stand on abortion as a pro-choice supporter depends on the mother's condition, the child's survival rate, and the family's situation. For me, abortion is not bad and immoral if it will cause an agreeable result for the mother and the child's condition. And that ends my discussion. For young teens and young adults who are watching this, my only advice for you is to be educated about this topic. Read articles about this issue and know how to filter information to identify what is real and fake. Do not engage in any sexual activities without any protection if you are not yet ready to bear and raise a child. And lastly is to be responsible of your own action. Abortion is not a crime. Abortion is a right. And abortion is a health care. That will be all for today, and thank you so much for listening.